everyone, or good evening, wherever you are. So my name is Daphne, and today's live stream is a bit different. We will be going over a story, hence English story reading. And this is the modern version of The Boy Who Cried Wolf, so many of you probably already know the original story. This is a little spin-off, modernized version of it. So first, what I will do is I will just go through the reading without stopping, and then I will go over the vocabulary, the sentence patterns, and then we will go back to the reading slower and take a look at how each of the sentence patterns fit into the story. And then at the end, there will be a very, very short quiz. So let's start. And before we get into the reading, if you take a look at the board right here, you can go into the description and click the link where you are able to make an account for free, and then there you can download your PDF cheat sheets, and these cheat sheets will be on different topics like business and work, travel, emergency, around town, cooking, clothes, pets, music, you name it. So this is completely for free. All you have to do is make a free account, and then you'll be able to download all of these free PDF cheat sheets. And I see a lot of people joining. I hope you all are doing really well. From Canada, nice. Bangladesh, awesome. And again, go to the description and click that link so you can download your free PDFs. Okay, so now I'll just run through the story without stopping very quickly, and then we will break it down. Okay, so today's story again is The Boy Who Cried Wolf, but a slightly more modernized version of it, hence The Boy Who Cried Wolf 2.0, from lonely to herd. Okay, so a young shepherd spent his days on a remote hillside, guarding his flock with only his faithful robot dog for company. Life was calm but repetitive, and over time, the quiet began to weigh on him. One afternoon, desperate for excitement, he posted a message in the village group chat. "Wolf, help!" Within minutes, the villagers came running, anxious and alarmed. Yet, when they arrived, there was no wolf, only the boy laughing at their concern. The villagers were furious. "Don't waste our time again," they shouted before heading back down the hill. When the noise faded, the boy felt the silence more sharply than ever. A few days later, Mira, a kind-hearted villager, climbed up to see him. She sat beside him without saying a word. After a while, he murmured, "I was just lonely." "I understand," she replied gently. "You're probably not the only one. Maybe you could create something that helps people like you feel connected." Her words lingered long after she left. That evening, the boy opened his laptop and began to code. He built an app called Wolf Chat, designed for shepherds who worked in isolation. The app spread quickly. Shepherds from distant valleys joined, sharing stories, advice, and most importantly, real warnings about wolves. Soon, some users began using drones and motion sensors to track wolf movements. Eventually, WolfSecure, a major company specializing in animal security, licensed their community data. From then on, the boy no longer felt alone. He smiled more, talked with people in town, and had a sense of belonging he'd never known before. And he never cried wolf again. Okay, so that was the story. I will go over the vocab and the sentence patterns in a bit. And in case you missed it earlier on at the start of the live stream, if you go to the description, there will be a link where you can click and then you can make your free account for English Class 101. And then that will allow you to download all these free PDF cheat sheets, all on different topics like travel, pets, music, cooking, and this is completely for free. So go ahead and make that account, download the PDFs, and you can study them while you commute in your free time. So please go ahead and make the account and download these completely for free. Okay, so now we will go over some of the vocabulary in the story. Some of you might already know the words, and if you do, feel free to comment and type the meaning into the description, into the chat box. So the first one we have is remote. And maybe many of you know this through COVID when remote work became very popular. So remote just means kind of removed from the generalized population, society, so you are kind of alone, maybe further away from everything. So during COVID, a lot of people worked remotely because of the pandemic, so they stayed at home and they worked through Zoom or maybe Microsoft Teams, whatever the online platform was. So remote. Okay, if you have any questions, you can also feel free to chat, type that into the chat. And I see more people tuning in. Great. Good evening to those of you where it's evening. Here it's morning, so good morning for anyone else. Okay, so the first word is remote. The next vocab word we have is murmured. So murmured is kind of like talking in a very low, distinct kind of voice. So maybe, for example, if you're murmuring something to the person next to you, it's a very, you're kind of going like, oh, okay, so like, so it's that. You're kind of using a low, distinct voice to say something. Next, we have the word linger. And linger means to kind of stay. So something is lingering. For example, maybe somebody went to the bathroom and they really had to go to town on the toilet and the smell lingered. It means that the smell lasted for a while. So it stayed, it's lasting, that's to linger. Or maybe you could even use it for something like your eyes are lingering. So maybe if you're at a coffee shop and you see a very good-looking girl, guy, whatever floats your boat, your eyes may linger on them because you're like, wow, that's some eye candy, and you can't take your eyes away, so your eyes are just focused on them, and that's lingering. So this word can be used in many different contexts. So yes, linger. Next, we have isolation. So isolation means to be alone, to be away from everyone, away from everything. And most people probably felt this during COVID, during the pandemic. You were isolated. Maybe if you have family, then at least you were isolated together. So you had a couple people with you. So isolation, to be alone, to be away from everything else and everyone else. Next, we have belonging, which is a different feeling than isolation. It means to feel like you are valued, you are part of something, to feel welcome. So to feel like you belong, hence belonging. As you can see in this little photo here, it's a nice, happy family. Everybody seems to be very close with each other, so they all belong and they all feel valued and a sense of community. So that is belonging. And more people are joining in. Great. Again, if you have questions, type that into the chat box. If you want to maybe type out some example sentences that you came up with using the vocab words, please feel free to do that as well. So now we will go over some of the sentence patterns that appeared in the story. So the first sentence pattern we have is subject, spent, and then time, either in a place or doing some kind of activity, and then you can add some additional detail. So for example, maybe you could use this sentence like, my mom spent all morning searching for soy sauce at the supermarket, but she never found it. Something like that. So you have your subject, and in my example, that's my mom, spent, and then the time is all morning, and then at the supermarket, that's the place, you can add an activity doing something. So searching for soy sauce is what I said. And then the additional detail is, but she could not find it. So unfortunately, even though she spent all that time, she was not able to get what she needed. So that appears in the reading. And later when we go over the reading one more time, it will be highlighted so that you can see it. Next, we have a situation and over time, then some kind of emotion or reaction, verb, and then began to, and then the verb. So you will be able to see that later in the story when we go over it one more time. Or if you actually remember from the story that I just read, maybe you can figure out which part it was that used this sentence pattern. So you first describe a situation, and then over time, some kind of emotion or reaction, verb, and then began to. So that is the sentence pattern. Next, we have a time phrase, then an emotion or motivation, then the subject, and then an action. So in the story, they use this sentence pattern, and later it will be highlighted when I go over the story one more time. So first you have a time phrase, maybe one day, then an emotion or motivation. He felt motivated, or one day with a sense of motivation, the girl decided to apply for grad school. Something like that. So you have your time phrase, whatever emotion it is, and then the person, the subject, and what the subject does. And somebody asked, cry is similar to shout. It kind of is, yes, or in this case, because this is a modernized version, he cried by posting on the group chat. But yes, if you're crying out, it's kind of like shouting out, maybe in a sense of like fear, maybe there's like an emotion of fear that goes along with it. So you could also say maybe the boy exclaimed. That's another similar word. Okay, so the next sentence pattern that we have from the story is when, and then a past event, and then the subject, felt, emotion, and then a degree expression. So again, we will go over this sentence pattern later again when we go through the reading, and that will be highlighted. The next sentence pattern we have is maybe you could, then a verb phrase, that, and then a purpose. So for example, if maybe you are suggesting something to a friend, you could say, maybe you could try to make something that you enjoy and could help you. So something like that. So maybe you could, and then a verb phrase. Then that, and then the last part is whatever the purpose is. So in the story later you might see it's when Mira is talking to the boy. She uses this sentence pattern. Okay, so now we will go over the reading one more time. And then we will look at all the vocab words that are used along with all the sentence patterns. And doesn't cry wolf mean false alarm? So in this case, yes, it does mean, so he cried wolf, so he basically lied to everybody and said there was a wolf when in fact there wasn't. So yes, in the context of this story, him crying wolf was him essentially just lying. So it was a false alarm and it wasn't actually because there was a wolf. Okay, so we will go over the story one more time. The Boy Who Cried Wolf 2.0. Yes. So, a young shepherd spent his days on a remote hillside, guarding his flock with only his faithful robot dog for company. So here is the sentence pattern that we first went over. So, spent his days on a remote hillside, guarding his flock. Life was calm but repetitive, and over time the quiet began to weigh on him. So here is the second sentence pattern that we went over. So life was calm but repetitive, and over time the quiet began to weigh on him. One afternoon, desperate for excitement, he posted a message in the village group chat. And here is the third sentence pattern. So if we go back really quick, so the time phrase, one afternoon, desperate for, and then this he posted on the group chat. Wolf, help. Within minutes, the villagers came running, anxious and alarmed. Yet when they arrived, there was no wolf, only the boy laughing at their concern. The villagers were furious. "Don't waste our time again," they shouted before heading back down the hill. When the noise faded, the boy felt the silence more sharply than ever. So this is the fourth sentence pattern. When the noise faded, the boy felt the silence more sharply than ever. So more sharply than ever is the degree of what he felt. A few days later, Mira, a kind-hearted villager, climbed up to see him. She sat beside him without saying a word. After a while, he murmured, so this is the vocab word. I was just lonely, so maybe in a low, hushed, distinct type of voice, that's murmured. I was just lonely. I understand, she replied gently. you're probably not the only one. Maybe you could create something that helps people like you feel connected. And here is the next sentence pattern. So maybe you could, and then here is the action verb, create something, and then the purpose that helps people like you feel connected. Her words lingered long after she left. This is the second vocab word, so lingered. Her words kind of stayed in his mind. They kind of stayed and were lingering, so they lingered long after she left. That evening, the boy opened his laptop and began to code. He built an app called Wolf Chat, designed for shepherds who worked in isolation. So here we have the next vocab word, isolation. So the shepherds that are away from everybody else, they were in isolation. The app spread quickly. Shepherds from distant valleys joined, sharing stories, advice, and most importantly, real warnings about wolves. Soon, some users began using drones and motion sensors to track wolf movements. Eventually, Wolf Secure, a major company specializing in animal security, licensed their community data. From then on, the boy no longer felt alone. Yay! He smiled more, talked with people in town, and had a sense of belonging he'd never known before. So belonging is the next vocab word. So he felt a sense of community. He felt like he was valued, that people liked him, that he could connect to the people in the community, in his village. And somebody's asking lingered, so that was the previous vocab word, which just means it stayed, it lingered, meaning, for example, in this story, her words lingered, her words stayed in his mind. And he never cried wolf again. So because he felt a sense of belonging, so he felt like people valued him, liked him, a sense of community, he never cried wolf again. So that is the story. And again, if you missed it the first 2 times that I said this, if you go to the description, you can click the link there and that will bring you to EnglishClass101.com where you can make a free account and then download your free PDF cheat sheets on various topics like business and work, clothes, emergency, pets, and you can download this completely for free. You can use this to study in your free time, on your commute. All you have to do is make an account and then you can download these cheat sheets completely for free. Okay, so now that we've gone over the story and most of all the sentence patterns and the vocab, there is a very short quiz. It is quite simple. And I will read out the question, then give you like 3 seconds, and then you guys can type the answer into the chat box. And then I will circle the answer. Okay, so are you guys ready for this very short, simple quiz? Yes, are you ready? Okay. So the first question is, why did the young shepherd post a message saying, "Wolf, help"? Is it A, he saw a real wolf? Is it B, he wanted to play a joke? Is it C, he needed help with his flock? Or D, he wanted to test the villagers? So anyone want to comment the answer into the chat? Go ahead right now. A, B, or C, that's all you have to type. Okay, so I will give you the answer. Okay, so B, he wanted to play a joke. So he was kind of feeling bored. He was not really, he was kind of feeling isolated. He needed some excitement, so he wanted to play a joke. Next, how did the villagers react when they discovered there was no wolf? Is it A, they laughed with the boy, B, they ignored him, C, they were furious and told him not to waste their time, or D, they stayed to talk with him? So comment your answers, type them in, A, B, or C, or D, and then 3, 2, 1. Most of you got it. Yes, C. So they were furious and told him not to waste their time because there was no wolf, and they traveled all the way up the hill just for nothing. Next question. What did Mira suggest the boy could do to feel more connected? A, move to the village. B, visit more shepherds. C, create something to help people like him feel connected. Or D, get a new robot dog. So in the chat, type in A, B, C, or D. I'll give you a couple seconds. Okay, so the answer is, some of you got that correct, yes, C. So to create something to help people like him feel more connected. That is what her suggestion was. She said, maybe you could What was the purpose of the app Wolf Chat? Is it A, to warn about weather? B, to help shepherds in isolation communicate and share warnings? C, to sell products for farmers? Or D, to track lost sheep? Because you never know where your sheep might go. So type A, B, C, or D, and then we will go over the answer. Yes, so a lot of you got that correct as well. It is B, to help shepherds in isolation communicate and share warnings. They even started using drones and motion sensors, and they all communicated with each other. Now, how did the boy's life change after creating Wolf Chat? Is it A, he became famous, but still lonely? B, he no longer felt alone and felt a sense of belonging? C, he moved to a new town? Or D, he stopped talking to people? So again, A, B, C, or D in the chat. So after he built and created Wolf Chat, what happened? Yes, most of you said it is B. So he no longer felt alone and he felt a sense of belonging. And again, belonging means a sense of community, a sense that you are valued, that people like you, that you relate and connect to people in the community. So he felt like he belonged, a sense of belonging. Very good. So that was all the questions for the very short quiz, and hope you like that slightly modernized version of The Boy Who Cried Wolf, using technology, of course. And next week's live stream, we'll be meeting someone for the first time and questions you need to know in English. So don't forget to tune in to next week's live stream. It will be at 9 p.m. EST time for those of you who live in that time zone. And that is all for today. So enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, day, whatever it might be for you. And I will see you guys hopefully again sometime soon. Okay, and again, if you missed it out earlier on, you can download your free PDF cheat sheets. Just All you have to do is click the link, make an account, and download the cheat sheets completely for free. And thank you guys for tuning in. It was my pleasure. And see you guys next time.